All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. I'm your host, Dane Lillingstone, and I have everyone's favorite UFC expert back, Tom Hayfield. How you going, mate? Look, no sledges today. I didn't even bring up the fact that you just had a fight.
I think you just did. I think you just did. Thanks for having us back, Dane. I love it. It's always good fun.
Now, talk us through it because I joke about it with you every time I get you on, but you actually have had at least a spa in front of your gym. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was such an awesome experience. There was probably like 80 people there, and yeah, it was awesome, man. It was only three 1 minute 30 rounds, which is nothing. And I tell you what, I had a full adrenaline dump and proper gas. And I'm like, just gives you a whole nother appreciation of how gnarly UFC fighters are, and just man, imagine doing that in front of the world and doing it for 5 minute rounds. Like I had a taste of like 5% of what that would be, and it's just crazy, man. It was so much fun. It was awesome.
100%, bro. Good on you for doing that because that's amazing and most people wouldn't do it. And I have seen some highlights, everyone. I don't know if they're floating around anywhere, but he's a killer. Watch
Yeah,
that high
good.
kick. Watch that left, right, good night. Some
All
crow
I've got
prop.
is the lank. I just used the lank. That's all I've got. But
You'd
thank you,
know,
Dan. I appreciate the
but
kind words.
your kick would go over my head, which is good.
How are you, bro? How's your last couple of weeks been? I know you've been busy.
Good, mate. Very busy. And just on that too, I just did 4 minute rolls at my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class just before we got talking and dead. After a big weekend, yeah, there's no gas in the tank. 4 minute rolls with 1 minute breaks.
Oh,
Yeah.
getcha.
But like you said, mate, busy week. It's all been football for me, and I haven't apologized to season ticket holders if you are here for football content because I didn't get to do a post-origin. I did a lot of pre-origin content. I was obviously in Brisbane covering that first origin in New South Wales camp. Obviously, as a Queenslander, I'm sure you're happy, mate, but I'm pretty disappointed about the
Mm,
result. And I was at the hotel room on Thursday morning watching the Blues come out. It was caught up with Zach Lomax and Laurie Daly, and they were pretty happy. Pretty keeping things pretty close to the chest though. Series still on the line, so I'll be heading to Perth as well next weekend and Origin too, man. We've got to see if we can turn it around.
that's exciting. I'm jealous. I'd love to be coming to Perth with you, Dane. Yeah, it was an awesome first game, and to do that up at Suncorp was pretty epic for the Blues.
Oh, mate, big performance and
Yeah.
Queensland is going to stay pretty big outsiders. They haven't won in Perth. They're 0-2 from the two games there.
Wow.
So
Do you reckon they're going to keep your boy Cherry Evans for the second game?
my boy,
Oh,
you're the manly guy.
yeah, true. True, true, true. What do you reckon?
No. I don't think they can make any big changes. I think that'd be pretty crazy to I
Yeah.
mean, in saying that, Tom Dearden's been amazing and he does deserve a spot eventually, but with the series on the line, dropping your captain, geez, does Billy have the
It's
balls?
huge. Yes, yes, that's true.
We will see, mate. We will see. Queenslander, I
It's
haven't given up
exciting.
hope. Mate, straight into it. UFC 316, we're back. This one sort of snuck up on me. I was just saying to you off camera, it feels like it's come up quick. I know Jack wasn't that long ago that we had our second
Mm.
Aussie champion in back-to-back months. But how are you just feeling about this car? Obviously, it is a rematch. Two bantamweight title fights in this one. Merab Dvalishvili against Sugar Sean O'Malley. Which obviously we know about the first fight. Merab was pretty dominant. I'd have to say 5 rounds, but I
Mm.
was watching the highlights just before, and you do forget that fifth round where O'Malley was coming up strong with those teep kicks, right? Like he was starting to
Mm.
finally do it, but after 4 rounds of pretty much getting dominated. Are you excited about this rematch?
I am excited. I'm excited for the fact that Sugar O'Malley, he's such a star. He always brings an exciting, striking fight. He's had some amazing knockouts, some amazing highlight reel knockouts that you can never sleep on him, man. He could land one on Marab's chin, and it could be another highlight, like another one for the reel. So I don't know. It's going to be a tough fight, and Marab is such a weapon. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I feel like there's obviously this is striker versus grappler again, but yeah, there's so many elements to it.
It is that classic fight you said. We were just joking about it before. It feels like we're always talking about these fights, but it's not the worst thing. And UFC was sort of built on grappler versus striker. I want to start with O'Malley just a little bit breaking down. I mean, he had an incredible run. I remember being really excited about his fights during that run that he had from when did he make his UFC debut? In 2017 in Dana White's Contender Series, he was 8 and
Mm,
0. Ended up compiling a run as the champion to be 18 and 1 before he lost to Merab back in September 2024. That was at the Sphere too, I believe, that incredible backdrop that we hopefully get
Mm,
to see again. Obviously, his striking was his strong point. He came through, he tore through with some big knockouts. I know my friends always thought maybe he's the hype train. There was like Connor 2.0. I remember those were the sort of
mm.
comparisons, right, that were happening with him. He liked to muck around. He's got his colorful hair. Um, that what, like trailer trash white boy, is that like the style? I don't know that he was going for, but he had his own style and he stood out and he had awesome striking to back it up, and he did back it up until this Merab fight. What did you just make of his run and his rise in the UFC?
Yeah, you're right. It was Conor McGregor 2.0. Everyone thought, he had the crazy hair, the colors, the crazy suits, the sunglasses on inside. He's got the charisma. He's not shy. He's calling people out. He's good on camera. Like he was ticking all the boxes, and he can fight. And his knockouts are wild. So you know, Dana White would have just been like stoked. Like here we go. Here's another superstar on the rise in the UFC, and he can obviously fight because he became the champion.
He did that too, and we both watched Countdown. But he used to smoke, like he used to joke around about his
Mm,
fitness and muck around and all that type of stuff. And he's big into his social media, his trolling, and he says that he's quit that now.
mm.
So I wonder how much that's going to have an effect on it. He said he's quit the smoking, he's quit the social media. I haven't fact checked, to be completely honest with you, and checked it if he's still how much he's posting or anything like that. But the other thing
Mm.
is that he had a tear in his left hip leading into the first fight. Now I think he said he had that 10 weeks out and has since had to have surgery. How much do you think that's all going to play in and change this second rematch?
Yeah, well, I think it's a massive deciding factor because according to his coach, that Tim Welsh dude, that he was saying that they couldn't really train for the grappling and the shooting in and the wrestling because of his hip last fight when they were training for the fight leading up with Merab the first time. So they were kind of just doing what they could do to get through camp, concentrating on the striking, concentrating on trying to catch Merab. And then now this time, he's full health. He's had the operation, he's had the surgery, he can train properly. He's doing all the groundwork. He's doing all the defensive work. He's obviously training specifically for Merab. And this time, they seem a lot more confident, a lot more happy leading into it. And it'll be interesting to see. They've got to come in with a different game plan because obviously the first time it didn't work. So it'll be interesting to see what they've come up with and how they correct from the first fight.
No, I agree. I mean, when I first saw this fight, I wasn't super excited, but I mean, it
Mm.
probably was the rematch that made the most sense. I think the other one was maybe Peter Yan was up there as well. Um, But I have enjoyed watching Sugar fight until he obviously did get stopped by Merab. On Merab himself, what have you made of him? Because I quite like him. He's a personality. Like he can speak English. He's moved to America, I believe. He gets in amongst it. He had all those funny videos and lead up to the first fight where he's smashing the O'Malley doll and all that type of shit.
Mm.
But he's a personality and he can back it up with his wrestling. Obviously, we sort of know what to expect. Another Georgian champion like Ilia Topuria, an incredible run. He's now 19-4. Hasn't lost since back-to-back UFC fights, which were coincidentally his two UFC debut fights on Fight Night cards back in 2017 and 2018. So since then, he was 7-4. And since 2018, hasn't lost. He is now 19-4. Of course, he's also fought since with Umar Nurmagomedov. Since then, that was back in January now, and fight of the night performance where I think he actually came in as the underdog. I remember from watching that fight. I
Yeah,
think,
that was nuts. Just because of Umar's last name, I reckon.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's his brother, right?
Yeah.
It's and
Yeah.
uh, and coming into that fight, the champion was somehow the underdog, which is pretty rare. And from memory, he
Mm.
lost the two first rounds, and it seemed to be going the way the bookie sort of had it. But then
Mm.
Merab sort of came back in those
The
final
machine.
three rounds and just dominated. I've heard people say that he
Mm.
has the best cardio of any fighter they've ever seen in the octagon. That he just doesn't gas. I don't know about if you could take that fifth round against O'Malley, if that was an example of it, or if he just got hurt, or what.
Mm.
But that's, I guess, really going for his corner. What have you made of his run?
Yeah, it's incredible. And like you said, I think he's really come out of his shell now. He's owning being the champion. He's got a lot more confidence. He's better on the mic. But at the end of the day, his nickname, the Machine, that's what he lives up to. He fights 5 minute rounds like it's nothing. Like he could just keep going. And when you've got someone like that who just, pushes the pace, they back you up against the fence, they hold you on the ground, they control you, they do not stop. That is so tiring to come up against him with his gas tank. No wonder he's the champion, and no wonder he's so dominant. And it's yeah, imagine trying to fight someone like that and they just don't get tired. Like it's just nuts. And no wonder he's called the machine.
Mate, even from my white belt BJJ rolls tonight, like if someone's on your chest for like 2 minutes, it's like
So exhausting.
you want to get out of there. Yeah, yeah. And like I think I'm
Yeah.
doing so well. I fought a guy twice tonight. The first roll, 4 minutes, it was great, held him off for everything he had. And then we rolled again 2 rolls later, completely gassed. I couldn't stop a thing.
Yeah. As
Just
soon
from
as
the
you gas, your technique is just out the window. And like
it's
imagine being gassed and looking across the cage and that guy's bouncing around ready to go again. You'd just be like, oh my God, what have I got myself into here?
That's why we're
Yeah.
here, man. No professional
Yeah.
paychecks for us. Um, but like you said, when it comes into the fight too, it's going to be the striker versus grappler. That's what we're all expecting. Can O'Malley
Mm,
find his spots, pick his spots, and get in? Like he did have that success in that first fight in that fifth round, or can
mm.
Merab just come out, dominate it, get his wrestling game, impose his figure? That's how it looks like. He is going to start as a pretty solid favorite coming into this fight. I don't really see how you can go against him. I think in the last fight, in his last fight against Umar, he passed the record for most takedowns in UFC history, passing George St. Pierre. So he's in pretty
Wow.
illustrious territory when it comes to his ground and takedown game, mate. What's your just tip going into it?
Yeah, well, I think the key for O'Malley, obviously, it's not rocket science. It's for him to use his length and keep it long and use the range there and try and land some nice shots, some nice hands, some nice kicks, using that teep, kind of keeping Merab at a distance where he can control it and hopefully sniper him with a decent shot that KOs Merab. Where Merab is going to be doing the opposite, trying to come in, close the distance, control him, push him against the cage, and it's just going to be interesting to see how O'Malley has an answer for that. Kind of like what we saw with Jack Dilla Maddalena and Bilal. Obviously, they ended up striking a lot more, but that's what we thought Bilal was going to do to JDM, and JDM had an answer. It'll be interesting to see with this fight if O'Malley has the answer for Merab.
No, that's very well put, mate. Love that. And it's a good point because yeah, I think it's gonna have to be can Sugar get those spots? I know he came out and said in Countdown he believes he could be one of the goats in the sport, and he's shown
Mm,
potential in the past. But I think a lot of fighters say that coming off a loss like that, trying to bounce back, even if they're trying to make themselves believe that hype. But I
mm,
can't look past Merab in this one. I think he's put together a
mm,
pretty nice record, and I think
mm.
he can just grind it out and win that 5 round decision, mate. So if I was a betting man, which I think I am, I'd be going him by decision, I think.
You're so Merab by decision.
I think that's my pick. Yeah.
My heart says O'Malley by KO, but
Because you,
my brain probably
yes.
says what you're saying. I
The,
agree,
the,
but
the
a
fun
nice
bet.
juicy KO
Mm,
and O'Malley is back on top. The UFC's got their golden boy, one of their golden boys, one of their stars as the champion again. It's That's a pretty good outcome as well.
and a nice pint down at the pub. You won your knockout bet.
Living, yes, that pint might buy me. That bet might buy me a couple of pints, hopefully.
Sunday perfection, mate. In the co-main event, let's get into it. Also, a bantamweight title fight: Julianna Peña against the rising Kayla Harrison. I shouldn't say rising because she has an incredible story. Um,
Mm,
and straight off the bat, the champion is paying $5.50.
wow,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
They are rating Peña no chance at all. I mean, I know.
And
Remember she's
what's Kayla Harrison like, a
She's a
dollar
dollar,
20
about a
or
dollar.
something?
When I just checked on sports bet, $1.15 favorite. So that is just
That
how
is
much.
crazy.
I don't think I've ever seen a champion. Obviously don't have the facts in front of it. I don't think I've ever seen a champion starting as a $5.50 outsider as the incumbent, as the
Mm,
champion. I know Kayla Harrison's been an absolute tear, but and I do agree. I don't
mm,
think you can. We'll get into analysis later. I don't think you can look past her based on what she's been
mm.
able to do. But that's just the first thing I wanted to jump on because that was incredible to me that she could be that big. I remember when we were talking just before about Merab against Umar, like it was he might have been like $2.50 or something, which was still strange, but
Mm.
$5.50 as the champion, god damn.
Yeah, that's crazy odds. I feel like, do they know something we don't? Is what's going on here? Yeah,
Yeah, well, I'll get into it. I mean,
that's crazy.
we'll start with the champion, and
Mm.
we were just talking about her. She's now 35. Obviously, her record probably isn't the most impressive for a champion. She's 12-5. Obviously highlighted by that win over Amanda Nunes back in 2021. Got the rear naked, really dominated the women's GOAT in that fight. I mean, that was obviously 4 years ago. They came back about 6 months later, ran it back. Nunes avenged it, got the decision win. Peña's obviously had some layoffs, some issues, and came back to win the bantamweight championship for a second time against Raquel Pennington. That was in October last year in a split decision. So
Mm.
maybe that just tells you a little bit about she hasn't been that impressive. She's had some layoffs in the past. She's battled with injuries, things outside. Um, so that goes to show just a little bit of what it was into Harrison because I do get excited about her. And I remember when she came into the UFC, there has been a lot of hype. She's been destined for big things. She's a two-time Olympic gold medalist in judo, 2012 and 2016. So that's an incredible record. To win it back-to-back games like that in a combat sport, it's not easy. I don't think it happens too often. She's 34. She made a UFC debut now from the PFL back in 2024. She's only had two fights, back-to-back wins. She submitted Holly Holm in the rear naked choke in the second round at UFC 300 and Ketlin Vieira back in October, decision win. So it wasn't explosive. And she is 15-1. She did have a loss in her second last fight in the PFL. That was back in November 2022, an unanimous five-round decision. But before that, she compiled a pretty impressive record. She was 15-0, and I think that was just two decisions in there, mixed in with a pretty nice mix of submissions and TKOs. And obviously, she submitted Holly Holm at the back end of her career, but still impressive. I'm excited
Mm.
when I watch her fight because I feel like she's at a different level. She does cut a lot of weight to get down to this division, which I've heard has been a bit of a concern, her having to drop down. I think she's at least two weight divisions below where she really should be. But the UFC is obviously limited with their women's weight divisions as well. I blabbered on a bunch there, Tom. But what have you just made of this? Because yeah, the odds, how this fight is shaping up, it's almost like they're just saying Harrison is the anointed next champion.
Yeah, she's a beast, man. Oh, I'm that impressed with your stats just then, eh? For you to pull that out, that was all time. I was just in awe.
There you go,
I
mate.
actually learned some stuff there. That was really cool.
There you go.
Um, but yeah, she's a beast, man. And she's new to the UFC. She's coming in with all this hype behind her. Obviously Julianna Peña potentially on the later end of her career. Yes, she had that amazing win over Nunes that honestly shook the world.
Mm.
She's the champ. She's still riding that hype. It's going to be a really good fight. And Kayla Harrison, I don't know. I think she's just this. I don't know how you'd stop her. She's honestly like,
She's a
yeah,
beast, man. Just even
she's
looking at her,
scary.
she looks like a beast, right?
She's
Like
scary. Yeah,
I think
she's
she
got
would
bigger
compete.
traps than what, man?
And she would compete well in the men's flyweight, I reckon. She'd go all right.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited to see it, man. And it's honestly an awesome fight leading into that main event as well.
Oh, 100%. And like I can see, I mean, 550 underdog for Pena. I mean, I feel like she is being written off a little bit. I think anytime when you've got a champion, and that's the sort of odds they're getting, like that is pretty rough. But obviously that judo, we saw it's the same background that mind blank. Ronda Rousey obviously came into the UFC with, and we saw how effective that was when the women's division
Mm.
was still sort of finding its feet in the UFC. But that is obviously the same background that she had. And Ronda Rousey wasn't no two-time gold medalist. And back
Yeah,
then she had so much success in doing that. And obviously Harrison's been able to put it together with some striking. Like she's been able to pull
yes.
it together. She has one, two, three, four. She's got seven. Was that six knockout victories? So six knockout victories, seven by
Mm.
decision and five, seven by submission and five by decision. So, and she's only lost once by
She's not a
decision.
one-trick pony.
No, no,
Yeah, she's
exactly.
not a
So
one-trick pony.
she's not
Yeah.
coming in here just to get like a random armbar on you. Like she's obviously rounded at her
Yes.
skill set. She's 34, and she's now been competing in MMA since 2018, professionally at least. I
Mm.
mean, and that was only 2 years after she was at the Rio Olympics in 2016. So pretty cool, man. I love it when you sort of see that cross sport promotion coming into it. I always think that's exciting.
Really
Um,
cool.
what's your just gut
Really cool.
feel?
I noticed on the countdown that Pena had brought in an ex-training judo training partner
I
of
did see that.
Harrison's, which is interesting, and obviously he'd be giving away some pretty close to home tips in how to deal with her and potentially how to beat her. So that's pretty smart from Pena, and Harrison would probably be pretty off that ex-training partner.
Did something maybe happen there? He seemed a bit salty.
He didn't seem happy. I don't know what's going on. The whole time in that countdown, Penny just was saying how everyone hates her. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but like, what has she done? I don't understand. Can you elaborate on that? Like,
Yeah, they really
you
tried
can't just
to.
tell everyone hates someone for no reason. Like, yeah,
They do. They both tried to play up the hate angle, but I didn't
yeah,
understand what either of them were trying to say because neither of them said anything that was like outlandish and insulting. So I was like, what exactly?
yeah.
Anyway,
What's
I
going
mean,
on here?
yeah,
It sells the
mate,
fight.
it does. And look, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah.
I want to see Harrison come in there, get a finish. I think it's gonna be a struggle for Pena to last 5 rounds. But like I said, Harrison is making big weight cuts, and I've looked into it a little bit. She is
Mm.
making big weight cuts. So whether that does have an effect on her ability to really be at her best athletically, that will be interesting to see. But $1.15 favorite heading into her first title fight in the UFC. It feels like it's all set up for her, and I could only bet with my heart and my head that she has to come in here and finish Pena. What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon Kayla Harrison by submission.
You heard it here first.
What do you reckon, Dan?
Gamble responsibly. You can take double finish. You can say knockout or submission. But look,
Yeah,
I mean, and honestly, I mean, obviously decision's still on the table. Pena's been up and down, but I don't know. I feel like Harrison is really just primed to get this done.
mm,
I can't really see it. Uh, Pena's been finished before. She's now 35. She says she's
mm.
hungry, but she's a two-time champion. What's the drive? What's the hunger? I mean, the age isn't a comparison. Harrison's 34, but I
Mm.
just feel like she's hungry, and this is like what she wants to do. A two-time gold medalist and a UFC champion. I mean, that's good motivation, right?
Pretty amazing credentials, really. It's
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
What do do you reckon you could ever won a gold medal in anything or?
I don't know. You put me on the spot there. I'm still thinking about when are we getting this juicy sports bet sponsorship
Oh,
deal
yeah,
from
yeah,
all the
yeah.
plugs we give them, eh?
Yeah, we do, we do. I need to start looking somewhere else for the next one.
Or
Maybe
Neds or something.
schooner drinking for you.
Yeah, we've drunk together once, and it was a
Uh,
pretty wild pace.
don't drink with Tom, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to get on the right train, don't drink with Tom.
That's right. You got on the wrong train.
I
That's a
did,
great
and I got in
afternoon.
trouble. So do not
Yes.
drink with Tom.
Yeah, I just said, just blame me.
He's
That's
a
fine.
heavyweight. Anyway, yeah,
How good.
mate. And yeah, I'm excited. So for the two title fights, I think we've said this before. There are some interesting fights. I'm just going to quickly go through the rest of the main card. I think there was one pull out as well. But
Mm.
again, like it's probably not the card that you're going to go nuts about, are you? If you're sitting at home weighing up whether to fork it out, it's definitely a card you'd want to watch at the pub for free. And like
Yeah.
even you said before, you're probably just going to catch. I'm just saying this more for the casual UFC fan, of course. There are some great fights on the card, but you're probably just going to get excited for these main two fights, if not even just the main fight, depending on how you're looking at it.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the UFC is so stacked, and we've got a couple of cards following this one that are just belters that if I was going to buy, I'd be saving my money for that. But yeah, we're lucky. This sport is just going from strength to strength, and the cards are just getting better and better.
100%, man. It's rounded
Mm.
out by Kevin Gastelum and Joe Pfeiffer. Um, Gastelum's a 410 underdog at the moment. Bit of work to
He's been
do.
around for years, man.
He has. He has.
He has, and some amazing fights. Like him and Israel Adesanya was one of the best fights in getting around. That was a war. That was when Adesanya was in the corner saying, "I'm prepared to die," stuff like that. Like
Epic.
Gastelum has got man, he's a warrior. He's been around for years, so all credit to him, still doing it.
UFC debut back in an Ultimate Fighter finale in 2013.
Yeah, wow, for
Lost a
12
split
years.
decision, won a split decision, sorry, to Uriah Hall. So that
Wow.
was, but his record now is 19-9. Did have a win decision back in June, so
He was
last
training
year.
over that Bang Tao gym in Thailand, which I went to. He wasn't there at the same time, but he did do I don't know whether it was a couple of weeks or a month, but he was training over there as well. So he's
Awesome.
obviously mixing it up, and yeah, good on
Yeah,
him.
Tom rubs shoulders with the pros. Um,
I wasn't there at the same time,
Joking.
but it's yeah. Anyway.
Next one, Mario Batista and Patchy Mix. I love it when there's a good UFC name on these main cards. Patchy Mix up there.
Sounds like a lead singer of a band or something.
Well, Bellator fighter UFC debut and is going to start as a slight favorite. They're both coming in, I think, with seven in a row winning streaks from my research. So could be an exciting one, and the odds are close. So I would be interested to see.
Cool.
I can't tell you too much about Patchy. You said you saw a little bit of him.
I saw him on the embedded, and yeah, he was a little kind of bit up himself a bit. He was very confident, but we'll see. I don't know a whole lot about him, so it'll be interesting to see him fight, and yeah, it'll be a good one.
Bring it on. And
Mm.
rounded out at the moment is Vincent Luque and Kevin Holland. And Holland will start as the favorite in that one. Not a fight that I'm exactly going to jump up and down for, but there's some solid fighters to round out that main card.
Definitely, there's a couple of solid names they've been doing a long time as well, and always put on entertaining fights. So definitely worth watching.
Uh, so that is UFC 316. It's going to be excited. I'm actually going to be working for this one, so I'll be able to at least watch it at work. Where will you be watching?
I got the weekend off, so I'll probably just watch it at DYRSL with a few mates on the big screen. It's kind of the local, and yeah, we love it. It's awesome.
So if you want any selfies, you know where to go. And I did want to touch on one other USC thing. Um, John Jones. I mean, it's getting a little bit repetitive, boring, whatever you want to say at this point. I did find it funny, the petition to strip John Jones, and you heard about it on change.org. It's currently up to
Yeah, hasn't it had
182,000.
like
I'm looking at the live one right now. 182,390 as of Wednesday night of this recording. John Jones is now the longest reigning champion in UFC
are you
heavyweight
going to sign
history.
it?
No, and has only fought two times in that period. There is a clear interim champion, Tom Aspinall, who has defended his interim championship belt. Aspinall is ready to fight Jones. Jones refuses to fight him. Therefore, we as fans must let Dana White know it is time to strip John Jones of the heavyweight title. He clearly has no intentions of fighting anytime soon. Tom, are you going to sign it?
I don't think I'd go as far as signing it, but I do agree with it at this point. But I think that could get to 2 million signings, and Dana White would not give he wouldn't give a crap. He's running the show, and John Jones is his boy, so he's the GOAT. He's said that multiple times, so I don't think that petition is going to sway Dana's thoughts in any way.
It was created on May 15, so what's that? A solid sort of 3 weeks now. And
Mm,
you're very right about Dana, though. He is anti-PC, anti-cancel, anti what fans think is logic. He does whatever Dana wants. He doesn't care.
yeah.
So it's not going to matter. You know how I feel. I've spoken about John Jones and my admiration for him before I got to interview him early last year. I thought it was a great interview, at least. He's very nice to me. I got a photo with him. I was fanboying. I had a little tear in my eye as I was
Rubbing
leaving here.
shoulders,
I had a
rubbing
little,
shoulders
I had
with the
a,
big
I
boys.
had 3 minutes to do a
Yes.
one-on-one at the airport as he arrived from America. I watched him ever since, I think his first fight that I saw was UFC 126 main card against Ryan Bader, if my UFC knowledge stands
Wow.
corrected. And that was just before he ended up fighting for the title, becoming the youngest UFC champion ever. And then obviously we all know the rest, the drug scandals, the hit and runs with pregnant women, the crying in front of the police during arrests. It's all happened. But when John Jones is in the octagon, to me, he is the GOAT. And no one can really change their mind. I've had heated debates at the pub with my mates about that one, but he is. And I really wish he would just come in, have his one more fight, right off into the sunset, and do it. If I don't care really if it's Aspinall, I think it should be Aspinall, as I think most UFC fans now do. But just get it done, make the fight. I don't know what Dana has to do, but I feel like this is a bit of Dana now as well. He's got to get in there, offer him the money, give him the big payday, and let him get out of there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. He is the GOAT. He's the best that's ever done it. And if he fights Tom Aspinall, it'll be one of the biggest fights ever. And there's a rumor that Dana has matched the money that he wants, and now it's just kind of it's on John Jones. But who actually knows? I feel like this is just more and more hype to promote the fight. I do feel for Tom Aspinall. This is like a Conor McGregor Chandler 2.0 happening again. It's kind of he's in his prime. He wants to fight, and he's kind of being dragged along by John Jones. But if it does come off, it'll be the biggest payday he's probably ever got. so it could be worth the wait.
100%. He's going to start as a decent favorite. A
Hmm.
lot of people think he'd be a heavy favorite, but I think he would just start as like a slight favorite. In my head, anyways. I actually haven't looked at the odds before I said that, but like in my head, that's how it would go down. Um, but yeah, I just want to see it done. And also just the heavyweight division, you see the most exciting, headline drawing, casual fan bringing in thing there was out there. And just for the last couple of years, or few years now, it's just been a joke. So
It's
it would,
been a bit lackluster, the names. Like, if Jones doesn't do this fight and they were saying maybe Aspinall Garn, I'm like, I don't even really care. Like, it's not a big draw. Like, the UFC kind of has to make this fight happen because the other alternatives are a bit lame and it's not going to bring in the numbers anywhere near to what this fight would bring in and the money for the company and the fighters.
100%, man. No, I agree. Let's get it done. I hope Johnny Bones can have a fight soon, mate, and ride off into
Yeah.
the sunset, and then he can do all the substances he wants, and not worry about any of that shit anymore. So,
Yeah, no, he deserves it. It's been a pretty amazing career, but yeah, it's let's hope the fight happens.
yeah, 100%. Come on, Dana. All right, mate. Tommy, thank you very much, man. A pleasure as always breaking it down. We will have to get and watch one of these together and plan it. This one did creep up on us though, I reckon. And there are, like you said, some big pay-per-views coming up to get really excited about. So we'll have to
Yeah,
lock
I
on.
reckon we lock in for the Poirier Max Holloway BMF fight. We go and watch that together
Mm.
somewhere, maybe, or Sports Bar and Barangaroo. That could be fun.
Yes, yes, the Sporting
Yeah.
Globe along the
Yes.
water in Sydney. If you get a nice sunny Sunday afternoon to go watch the fights there, book a table. There's screens everywhere, wings, beer towers. What more do you want?
Yeah. Me and Dane will be there just screaming.
There's a new sponsor too, Sporting Globe. Shout out.
Yes. Might get a free pint.
Anything, mate. Roll of chips. Uh, we'll take anything, mate. This is free. Tommy, thanks as always, mate. Good luck with all the training, and we'll talk to you again. We'll do a post fight if we can. We'll see how we go. We'll do a post fight, see if there's any big title changes, any big upsets. Otherwise, we can do that next week.
Awesome, man. Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Dane. Cheers.
Anytime, Tommy, and thanks a lot for listening, guys. Appreciate the support. We'll talk to you soon.